If you have traveled from Logan to Lancaster, you probably noticed the town of Rockbridge. But what you probably didn't notice is where it got its name. It's named after the natural rock bridge that's located roughly a mile away in the Rockbridge Nature Preserve. We talked to ODNR naturalist Pat Quackenbush to find out more.
Well, Rockbridge State Nature Preserve, and it is that. It's not a regular state park, it is a state nature preserve, which means it gets a little extra level of protection because it's a unique and delicate area. Rock bridges or arches occur throughout Ohio, but Rockbridge is the largest one in Ohio. And our sandstone here, the blackhand sandstone that you find in the area here in the Hocking Hills area, is easily eroded. But it erodes in weird shapes because it's very inconsistent. You have soft layers, hard layers. So what happens is the water kind of got behind a really hard layer of the stone, and it dug its way out and under and left behind that beautiful arched walkway, as a lot of people like to say, although we don't necessarily recommend you walk across the rock bridge. But it leaves behind that beautiful little arch. But it took literally millions of years to get it to where it is today. Well, the history of the rock bridge, to really understand it, you have to go back almost 250 million years in the initial formation of the hills here. Those types of formations begin eroding out and being created at that time. But as Rockbridge progressed, it became a famous location. Even back in the 17 and 1800s, visitors would come there and they would enjoy it. They would have picnics there, etc. And as time went by, we realized in the Ohio Department of Natural Resources that there were also some very delicate plants and things that are associated with that unique environment. So it was protected in the late 1960s as a state nature preserve. But it's got quite a long history in the area. You know, the rock bridge is about 61 feet long, and from top to bottom, it depends on where you're looking at the arch, but it's around 35 to 40 feet off the stream at the bottom. And what's kind of cool about the rock bridge is it's a work in progress. We tend to look at it, and it's been that way for a long, long time, and we say, wow, that's really cool, but what a lot of people don't realize is there's still water flowing underneath, and it is still forming. So I suppose you could retake that measurement about once a year and get a slightly different measurement each year. Yeah, the sandstone that you find in the Hocking Hills is very unique. It is referred to as the blackhand sandstone, and it comes from runoff. Our sandstone in general, the hills here, come from runoff out of the Appalachians. During a time they were lifting and the oceans were draining from this area. So we were the very edge of that drainage. So we got the weirdest materials that made it all the way here into the Hocking Hills. Because of that, this sandstone that you find here in this particular spot in Ohio is like nowhere else in Ohio. Literally, you drop down the road to Lake Hope or Stroud's Run, and that sandstone there is entirely different than what we have in the Hocking Hills. So when the geologists were looking for a name, what are we going to call this unique type of sandstone? What they noticed at the time were these gigantic black hands that the natives had painted on the cliff walls. They were marking their way to Flint Ridge up near Newark, Ohio, where they would collect massive amounts of flint to make knife blades and spear points and things like that. So the geologists were looking for a name for this unique sandstone, and they thought, makes sense, blackhand sandstone. So that's where the name came from. So it's kind of in it, but it is very unique to the Hocking Hills.
So take some time to visit one of the most underappreciated landmarks in the Hocking Hills. Jacob Craig, TVT News.